This is Andy coming to you again from my Daily Funk Club headquarters. And today I decided I have a little bit of time, and I've been wanting to do some more lessons for you guys, but it's been a busy summer. I've been gigging like crazy. I'm playing with 5 different bands, and I think I've had about 50 gigs over the last couple of months, and it's kept me very, very busy. Anyhow, I try to keep up with the videos and do the demos and stuff for the sponsoring brands here, but sometimes I don't get a chance to do as many lessons as I would like to for you. So I've decided to dedicate some time to that. So over the next couple weeks I'll try and post several lessons. I've posted a couple already, and today I'm going to give you another one. Now, what I'm going to show you today and what I want to talk about a little bit is something that people ask me about, and that's kind of this soulful, how do I get that soulful kind of feel and vibe in my playing? And the things that I'm going to show you today are the things that I use, you know, and they're certainly nothing that I invented, but they're just kind of the traditional meat and potatoes, soulful kind of, you know, bass guitar feels, and some licks and some shapes and some patterns and stuff that will definitely take you there. Okay, the instrument that I'm playing is one of the ones that I built. It's one of my my ghost bass. It's, you know, a jazz bass, but it has 2 sets of P-bass pickups in it by Bartolini. It's an unusual instrument. It has a Warmoth neck on it, and it's strung with flat wound strings. Okay, so it has the great already. That's going to be a big part of the tone that kind of gets you set in that right direction to go to that soulful place. You could certainly use any bass that has you know, round wound strings on it. Just roll the tone control back a little bit, and kind of go for a round type of tone, you know, without too much high end and lots of low end, lots of bottom. And it all kind of starts with the Fats Domino kind of bass line, I call it, which is, it's derived from the major scale, so we're going to definitely need to know the major scale. What it does is it just utilizes, this first bass line just utilizes the 1, the 3, the 5, the 6, and the octave, the 8. Now that's a little turn that I do that's coming out of the major pentatonic scale. But that note right there, that's the minor third, E flat. That's what's going to start to give it the bluesy, you know, the blue note. We call those the blue notes, and that's what gives it the soulful character, is to tastefully use those blue notes intermixed within the framework of that major tonality. Right? Now the other thing that you can do that's really cool is you can incorporate the dominant 7. So in the major scale, B natural is the major 7, right? Just lower that down to a B flat. And then use this as a pivot point for your bass line. You know, that time I did the same thing. I did the 6 and the dominant 7, but I came under to it. And this little guy I'm doing here is that's the major third, E natural, right? I'm just coming from a half step below it, which is the minor third, again. That blue note I was telling you about. And then you definitely want to start to learn how to incorporate what I call the rolls. This is something that Chuck Rainey did all the time, and a big factor of what made his bass playing and the bass playing of people like Jerry Jamont and those guys. Very melodic, but also because it only utilizes the 1, the 5, and the 8, you could do it over just about any chord. And it's kind of like a piano lick. So it's just 1, 5, 8, 8, 5, 1. So it's like. That's another one of those great ways to just come on under, come way under, coming down to the major third, which is the low E. You can start to incorporate the ghost notes and all that, but you really don't need it to play soul music. You don't need all those ghost notes to play traditional soul music, you know what I'm saying? Those guys didn't do a lot of that stuff. The ghost noting didn't start coming along until Jocko put a really super funky ghost notey kind of feel on it, which was like. The old schoolers would have been just like. Careful with using all those ghost notes. It can get cluttered real fast. Of course, they're very cool and very hip if you can land them and they make sense, but in general, you know, in general, simple is always better, especially when we're playing traditional, you know, kind of American soul music. You know, you don't need to go too crazy with all the ghost notes. You can, but be careful. They'll get you in trouble. You know, the ideal scenario is that the bass line just sticks to the kick drum really hard. I do that like all the time. Same key, you know, same pitch as C, but I'm going, which is what I was talking about earlier, minor third to major third to tonic. And it's all kind of out of that kind of a lick shape. The other one that's cool is the one that I learned it from George Porter, which you know, it's kind of like the one I was doing before, but it's using the 4th scale step. 1, 2, 3, 4, C major, the F natural. So it's kind of like 1, 4, 1, minor third, major third, 1. And then you put a double 1 in there, so it's like 1. And you just get it rolling and swinging, you know, everything's got to swing. do the palm mute, of course. If you want to go to that really, really round, kind of almost murky, muted kind of vibe, those kind of bass lines are great. And also stick to the kick drum in a really, really great way that fills out the track. You know, I was talking about that roll. You can also do kind of like what I call a half roll, which is just bouncing off the 5 of each approaching chromatic chord. So it'd be like B flat, F, B natural, F sharp, C. You know, essentially that's the shape of a power chord, but played as an individual succession of pitches. So you can do the roll or the bounce off the 5. You know, these are all just real kind of basic things to get you moving in the direction of that soulful kind of thing. Another thing you could do is throw in a little bit of grease, which is and that's just getting on top of the fret and sliding in front and behind the fret a little bit. So I hope that these things are going to help you a little bit. And now for the last portion of this video, I'm just going to play. I'm just going to come up close to the camera and play and kind of demonstrate everything that I just talked about. And hopefully you can take some of these things and just start to slowly incorporate them into your playing. And you know, I'm pretty positive, you know, a lot of you already do this kind of stuff. So you know, it might be a little bit redundant. This lesson might completely bore you, but I'm sure that there's people that that are just kind of getting going in that direction and looking for ways to achieve that kind of a thing. I'll say one more time, it's all about the feel. You know, for sure, it's all about the feel and having it bounce and swing. It has to bounce and swing and have definitive time. And like I said, you know, really establishing the one and laying it down. It's funk, you know what I mean? It's funky. So it's not slap in the bass. You know, that's not the origins of funk. Funk was around way before anybody was slapping the bass. Larry Graham didn't start slapping the bass until way after funk was invented. So that's a fact, Jack. All right. So this is kind of like the old school funk, and everything about it is funky. It's syncopated. You know, a few tasteful bends. I didn't mention that. mention is using the arpeggiated triads is another great one. That would be the 1, the 3, and the 5 of the C major scale, right? If I was to arpeggiate a C major chord, that's kind of like... Anytime that we start to incorporate arpeggios into our playing, it's going to instantly start sounding more melodic. We just have to be careful. We need to land those 7s. If we're going to use those 7s, we've got to do them in a tasteful way. What I like to do is incorporate the major 3rd an octave up, and you can do these types of things. You know what I'm saying? Minor 2, minor 3, major 4, major 5. Sharp 4 diminished. Minor 2. Major 5. 1. 5. You know, a lot of the chord progressions in traditional American soul music, roots Americana, and even pop music is based out of that 1, 3, 6, 4, 2, 5, 1. Okay? So there's a little bit of a lesson for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video and that maybe that you got something from it. And again, I'm using the flat wound strings on this instrument, so that's definitely helping to go to that kind of soulful tone. And flat wounds are a little bit more work, but the reward is that the way they stick to the kick drum and the way that they really fill out any mix or any recording. Just, you know, they're just much more... the tightness of the string, the tension of the string creates a fundamental that I think goes to the amplifier and goes to the recording, goes to the PA system in a really tight kind of way. And though they're a little bit more dark, murky, and muddy, they still, you know, the way that they fit into the mix is really, really wonderful. Round wounds, of course, are going to be brighter and more shimmery, and you'll hear more of the frets, you know, and you know, you'll hear more kind of attack and just overall kind of more of a high-end kind of incorporated sound when you use the round strings. I love them both. But when I'm playing soul music and like I said, country, R&B, bluegrass, old school funk, and you know, the Motown stuff or Stax, Muscle Shoals, any of that stuff, you know, all that good old American soul music, you know, flats are kind of where it's at. And, you know, I think about half of the people that watch this video are going to love it because of the flats, and half of them are going to say, ugh, I hate the sound of flats. It's one of those things, you know, some people love them, some people don't. All right, friends, have a great day and rock on. See you next time.